Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trends in Automation podcast. I'm Frank Langro, Director of Product Market Management at Festo North America. And this podcast is going to be a little bit different from what you've seen before. Typically, we're talking about the latest trends in automation, new products and applications, and so on. This time, we're going to talk about service. On Monday, January 16th is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it's also observed as a day of service. So it's a little bit different from most holidays where people get off and are encouraged to go to the beach and enjoy things, parties, picnics, and so on. What's encouraged here really is how you can give back to your community, how you can serve in a way that supports Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision for communities to work together and come together. So I'm here with Troy Douglas. And Troy,
Thanks, Frank.
Your experience and
so I'm a customer solutions project engineer out here in our headquarters facility in New York.
So speaking of service, Troy, I could see from your shirt, First Long Island, and I know working with you together for a number of years and also volunteering and being part of the first community on Long Island, that it's certainly a organization that I think we're both proud to serve on. Can you tell me a little bit about how you became aware of First and how it led to the different things that you're doing with the organization?
Yes. So originally, basically, it started back in middle school, and it started with my father seeing a news article in a local newspaper stating that there was free robotics event. I had no idea anything about it. Neither of us did. And he took me to a local community college, and they had what was at that point the first robotics competition event going on at school. I happened to find out that my high school, Deer Park High School, had a team. So the next year I joined it, and it kind of just went from there. So I was involved on a team back in high school, and that kind of introduced me to Festo, and that's kind of how it all got started.
So I think I remember seeing you at that event. Just kidding. But I probably was there because I got started with First through Festo. I'd never heard about the organization before that. But as the program started on Long Island, Festo was one of the initial sponsors and a major sponsor at that, not just with money and resources, but also asked the employees to help support the event. And I think I may have had the lucky job of crowd control. And there were crowds, believe it or not, right? I mean, you were there.
It's very high energy. It's always a lot of fun.
And so you definitely needed people like myself to be in charge of crowd control. And that was my first exposure to it. I thought it was amazing and continued to volunteer in different roles. And ultimately, they promoted me to a judge where they serve us hot lunches. So it's a great job, but a lot of fun and tough work because one of the biggest challenges I have is when you see the students and the kids and what they've accomplished and what they built, and you're being asked to judge them on it. And there's so many creative ideas, and it's hard to pick a winner. I mean, we always have a saying, what goes on in the judges' chambers stays in the judges' chambers, but there are some intense arguments that go on there. And I'll leave it at that. Now, I've seen you on the field all the time in your referee shirt. I mean, can you tell me a little bit about the joys of refereeing?
So I really enjoy refereeing. Pretty much I started refereeing as soon as I graduated from high school back in 2006. And then recently, as of 2015, I've started as a head referee for First Robotics competition. And it's just always fun getting to see every match, getting to see the students interact directly with all of the teams. In some cases, it's very high stress environment, but at the same time, it's really rewarding to kind of see myself and a lot of the students from when I was on a team. No, it's always just a great time. It's always great seeing all the individual robots, and I consider it one of the best seats in the house because I get to see every single match.
That's true. That's true. Um, you know, it's funny, like I say, I started doing crowd control. But I don't think there's anything as dipping your toe in the water really when it comes to First and volunteering with First, because the excitement and the energy, it's really inspiring and a lot of fun. Even though it's a lot of work, it's a lot of fun. So soon after that, I started becoming part of the development council, the FRC development council for the first robotics competition, getting involved there, ultimately joining the board of directors for First Long Island and helping to try to grow the programs by engaging with other companies, other people, coming up with ideas of how we can better inform people about the great things going on here. I mean, I know you do a lot more than referee, Troy, so don't be modest. Tell us a little bit more about what you do.
So, in addition to First Robotics Competition, I also volunteer at some of the other levels of First. Basically, First is a K through 12 progression of programs, starting with First Lego League, which is a much younger age group. And for that, in the past, I've been a head referee, and I now actually am the program delivery partner running First Lego League with another person, my partner Chris Baker, for the Long Island region.
And I know you guys have recruited me as reffing and judging, and I'll be reffing, not reffing. I'll be judging an event or two this year.
We're happy to have you.
You can count on me.
I also work for First Tech Challenge as a volunteer, which is a middle to high school level robotics program that's also part of the first progression of programs. So I've worked in the past as a judge. I've also worked as a field manager, helping for ensuring that the field's running on time. But regardless of the position, it's always really engaging just to see the students, see the excitement, see what they've actually accomplished in during their build season, see what they've learned. It's always really inspiring to see what these students can actually do.
Yeah. I mean, a great thing. I mean, what they're doing is they're using real industrial parts. It's not like some little play set. And I know, for instance, because I've been working with the first organization, the national global organization, as Festo donates a valve to the kit of parts every year. And we've been doing that for probably 15 years or so. So pretty much every robot that is being made by these high school students, if they're using pneumatics, they're using a Festo valve on it. And that's the same equipment that people use to produce automobiles and semiconductors and so on. So they're using real equipment, real skills that are needed in the workforce. So it's really just an eye-opening program.
So Frank, for those who are not really familiar, could you give us a little bit about the history of First?
Sure. First was the child of Dean Kamen and Woody Flowers. For those of you who may not be familiar, Dean Kamen, I mean, his, let's say, more visible invention has been the Segway, but he has done a number of things such as at-home insulin pumps, and the Segway really came out of a medical development anyway, as a wheelchair that can go upstairs and go on sand and stand up on two wheels. So his viewpoint was, why not put engineers and scientists on the same level as athletes and movie stars? Because the engineers and scientists are the ones who are solving the problems in the world. They're the ones making huge differences. And it's also a career that anybody can participate in. I think he has a statement that anybody can go professional. Anybody can study to become an engineer and get a job in the engineering field. I mean, I think we see right now, the shortages of skilled workers and tech people, and this first programs is certainly one way of closing and filling that gap. But first, it's the brainchild of theirs. But what he used is basically used robots as the vehicle. So robots. In the first competitions, students build robots, and the younger students in Lego League, they're using Lego and they build robots. Older students are using actual industrial parts. But it's not just about building the robot. It's really using the robot as a vehicle to develop the student.
Exactly.
Troy, I mean, you've played the game, you ref the game, but you also mentor. And like I said, these students are using real industrial parts. They're operating machines in many cases, like lathes and drill presses and so on. I mean, can you talk about the mentorship that goes on in the first program?
Yeah, so a number of actual engineers in customer solutions and honestly at Festo in general mentor local teams. And one of the things that at least when I'm mentoring my teams that I like to do is I like to walk them through the engineering design process and how we go from an original conceptual design to a finished product. So that includes from actual mechanical design, doing calculations, working them through how to actually size components, size motors, size pneumatic actuators, to doing the actual machining, working with them with that. We have other people in the industry who also work and help teams with programming for the robots. So it's really a team effort, and it's a great way that we can kind of give back to a program that really kind of started me off on the career path that I am on now.
I mean, you're not the only person in Festo who's actually been on a FIRST robotics team. I know we've had several of your colleagues in customer solutions. I know one of them was an intern in my department at one point and worked on building trade show displays, did a fantastic job. And my feeling is that the skills that they learn on the FIRST robotics team, being able to work under pressure, being able to fail and come back and try again, being able to work as a team player. I mean, these are critical skills that every organization needs. And I've had such great success with all the interns that I've had who've been participants in the FIRST programs. I mean, have you had any interns now since you've been with Festo who've been part of FIRST?
Actually, yes. We've had quite a few, especially as recent as I think 1 or 2 years ago, honestly, where we've had interns that were also FIRST alums. And it's the same thing that I would expect. I mean, from any of these students is that you see a passion and a drive. You see an eagerness to learn. You see a lot of skills that they've developed from their time on a FIRST team, whether it's from FIRST Lego League all the way up to FIRST robotics competition. You see a set of skills that they've mastered over the time in the FIRST programs, and they're able to apply that in their day-to-day job at that point, and they apply that towards making their career.
Yeah. No, I mean, I see clearly that, this investment because it is an investment. I mean, this investment that Festo has made in terms of time, money, it's actually paid dividends because people like you are part of the company now today, as well as others. And, the interns that we've had come through our doors and contribute in really meaningful ways. I think it goes without saying that Festo as an organization has certainly reaped the benefits of the program.
So Frank, as a member of the board of directors, could you tell me a little bit about the history of FIRST Long Island?
Sure. So FIRST Long Island is a separate entity. It's a nonprofit and it's a separate entity from FIRST. So FIRST Long Island is responsible to put on all the FIRST programs and administer the FIRST programs on Long Island. So like yourself as a program delivery partner for Lego League, and the other programs and the delivery partners there, we put on those programs. That means we organize them, which you of course know. We staff them with 100% volunteer. Nobody on First Long Island is paid for their role. We're all paid in the gratitude that we get from the people who are playing the games. So that's the organization. And it started, I think the first robotics competition that was held on Long Island, I believe, was in 1999 in the parking lot at Suffolk Community College. It then went on to a regional event in the year 2000, the first time the Long Island Regional was held. And it's grown so much that we now have 2 regional events every year.
Yep.
Because we have so many teams, and the facility at Hofstra University, the Mac Arena, where we hold the event, does not have the ability to go beyond 50 teams at an event. So we actually have two teams. We attract teams from Long Island, of course, also from New York City and across the US. And we even have international teams participating. I mean, some years, right, we had Brazilian teams, Turkish teams.
We have in India.
Yeah, you name it. It's a big event.
Yes.
And again, I can't stress enough that it is all volunteer run. And to the day of service, this is certainly a great way if people are interested to get involved and to do service, community service, is to get involved with First Long Island, or First anywhere, really.
No, exactly.
We both know the programs quite well. Do you think there's something that people don't know about First that could be interesting? Maybe some hidden fact?
So honestly, I would say probably one of the best kept secrets is really, it's more than just robots. You don't have to be technical in order to be a part of First, whether it's as a student or as a mentor. These teams run themselves a lot of the time like companies. So you can have students or mentors that are involved with the marketing aspects. They can be involved with finance. They can be involved with business development. So realistically, it's not just about the robot and building a robot and competing on the field. It's much more than that. It's really more about building a community and building what will be the next generation of leaders, not just engineers, but the next generation of leaders.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, Troy. So I think the next question that people would have is how you can get involved, and that's pretty easy. You can go to firstlongisland.org to get involved in Long Island events. You can go to firstinspires.org and sign up for events around the country. And you could also go to festo.us/first. And you can see some of the things that Festo has done with the First programs. And I think any one of those sources is a great place to start.
I would agree.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Trends in Automation. It's a little bit different from what you've previously seen or heard, but we hope you continue to come back and join us and share this with your friends and family as well.
Thank you for inviting me, Frank.
Keep up the good work, Troy.